Hi everybody, welcome to Tobin Real Estate Talk. I'm Louie Granteed, the Senior Vice President of Commercial and Residential Real Estate for Tobin Real Estate here in Hollywood, Florida. And today we're excited for our guest who happens to be the phenomenal Broward County Property Appraiser, Marty Kiar. And he's here today to answer a lot of your questions. Not only he gets around the county, but we also in the real estate industry get on a daily basis. Marty, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Louie, so much for having me today. I have to tell you, I think the world of you. We've known each other for so long, and I cannot tell you how proud I am to see the amount of success that you're having. I see you on Facebook all the time, just with not just business, but your family, and I could not wait to come hang out with you today.
Oh, I appreciate it, and the feeling is mutual. As you know, I go back with your dad, back when he was the former mayor of the town of Davie. We have a great mayor there now, Judy Paul, and your mom, the principal of St. David's Catholic Church, and your beautiful wife Kelly, and your girls Cammie and Brianne, and just super happy for you and all your success, and the fact that you're now re-elected unopposed, so that's a win-win for everybody in Broward County, so we're really excited for that. You know, I think the world of you as well, and happy you're here today.
Oh, thank you, Louie.
A way to start would be if you want to give a little overview of property taxes of Broward County.
Well, I'll tell you, so for our office, it's a pretty interesting office. There are three main functions to the Broward County Property Appraiser's office. The first function is we determine the value of every piece of property in Broward County for tax purposes, whether it's residential, commercial, tangible personal property, or centrally assessed property, which are railroads. And the reason that's important is because when you pay your property taxes, the amount of taxes you pay is a relation between the value of the property that we set and the tax rate set by whatever local governments you live in. So the most important thing we want to do in our office is get it right. And Broward County is a huge place. More people live here than 13 states, the District of Columbia, and all U.S. territories except Puerto Rico. It's big. And there are more parcels that we appraise than exist in many states. And even though the people in our office do a very, very good job and their assessments are very accurate, mistakes can occur, or maybe people have information about their property that we don't have that can help us bring down their assessed value, which can bring down their property taxes. And the other thing that we really do, and I love talking about this, Louie, is we give tax saving exemptions to people that qualify. And if you live here in Broward County, if it's your homestead, if you're a senior, if you're a widow, you may be entitled to a very, very lucrative exemption that can save you money in your property taxes. So go on our website at bcpa.net, click on exemptions, and if there's something you're not getting, just call me by September 18th.
One of the great things is you've revamped the website that's now even more user-friendly for people, and that makes the accessing the information on your site even more easier for people every day. And I think that we've had a conversation, and you have about 2 million hits a day on your website.
We do, and thank you for bringing that up, Louie. You know, our website and our office is kind of our window to the world. It's really there for the public. So we can provide them information so they can make the best decision about their property, whether it's changing their deed or looking up their property, seeing what their market value is, their assessed value, seeing what exemptions they're getting. It has all kinds of other data on there. Please go on our website. There's a lot of really useful information on there that can really help you in any stage of the home buying process or after you own the home.
Another one of the questions that comes up is understanding that each city has its own market value. Maybe you can explain that a little bit, how that works.
Of course. So Broward County is a very special place. And in Broward County, there are 31 cities. The largest city is Fort Lauderdale. The smallest is Lazy Lake, which has about 16 homes. And every single city sets their own tax rate. Every single city is responsible for picking up your garbage or making sure your potholes are fixed or providing municipal services. And so when you pay your taxes, your tax bill is being paid to a number of different taxing authorities. You pay taxes to the city, you pay taxes to the county commission, which operates the port and the airport and other mass regional issues, and you pay taxes to the school board, which basically provides education to our kids, and to all other taxing authorities. And so what I always tell everybody is next month you're going to get a very important document from our office in the mail. It's the Truth and Millage Notice. It's not a tax bill. It's basically a document you can make sure you don't overly pay in your property taxes. And it's going to show a few things. It'll show the value of your property for tax purposes. It'll show all the tax saving exemptions you're getting. It'll show the dates and times your local government's going to be discussing their tax rates. And it'll show the proposed amount of property taxes you're going to be asked to pay for this year. And when you get that document, really read it.
How can the property appraiser help homeowners and commercial property owners?
Great question. So there are a number of ways that we can help people. So most property owners in Broward County are residential property owners. Right now, for example, there are more than 400,000 homeowners who have a homestead exemption. And that's such an important exemption. Let me tell you why. The homestead exemption does two things. If it's your primary residence where you're registered to vote, if you don't vote, where your declaration of domicile, where your card's registered to, if that's where you live, you get that very important exemption that does two things. The first thing it does, it takes $50,000 of value off the tax roll you don't pay tax on, consider maybe $1,000 a year. But most importantly, it really protects you going forward, because every year after you have a homestead exemption, the value you're taxed on cannot go up more than a maximum of 3%. And that is so important right now, because the average sale price for a single family home in Broward County right now is more than $800,000. But here's what that means. If you have a homestead exemption, the value you're taxed on can't go up more than 3%. So getting that, make sure that the value you're taxed on will go up more than 3%, and your taxable value won't skyrocket with your market value based on what people are paying for properties. Once you get that, there are so many other exemptions. There are exemptions for seniors who are low-income seniors. There are exemptions for people who are widowed, for people who are visually impaired, for veterans and first responders. There are lots of exemptions under Florida law that can save you a whole lot of money. And I said this before, please, when you get the trim notice, take a look at it, then go on our website at bcpa.net, click on exemptions, and if there's something you're not getting, just call me by September 18th, and we'll make sure they're reflected in your November tax bill. When it comes to non-residential properties, basically commercial properties, there aren't a lot of protections under the law when it comes to exemptions. The only thing that's there is something called the 10% cap. That basically means that every year, if you have a property that is not a homesteaded property, basically a commercial property, the value you're taxing cannot go more than 10%, except for the school portion of the tax bill. But we value commercial properties a little bit differently than we value residential properties. Residential properties are valued based on the sale price or comparable sales from the year before. Commercial properties can be valued based on the sale price. It can also be valued based on properties changing hands, but can also be valued based on income. Basically, what does that property produce in income a year? So I always tell everybody, when you get the trim notice next month, and you see the value of your property, if it's a commercial property, and you're concerned with that value, you think we've made a mistake, or you have income information that can help us bring that value, or maybe you have other data that we can look at and go through together.
People just don't understand how it works, when you get it,
Yes.
How to transfer it. So maybe you can shed some light on,
Of course.
where the Save Our Homes Portability program is and who qualifies and how that works.
Portability, again, gives you the ability to move from one home into another home and not be taxed at home. When you bought your home, you filed for homestead. And when you did that, the value you're taxed on couldn't go up more than 3% a year, because the Save Our Homes Assessment Clause of the Florida Constitution kicked into place. So then every year thereafter, your market value got much, much higher because of what people are paying for properties, but your assessed value stayed capped because of that 3% cap. So over time, you get all this value between your market value and your assessed value you don't pay taxes on. Now, if you decide you want to buy another home of equal or greater value, you can move up to $500,000 of value, whatever you've accumulated, and not pay taxes on that on your new home. If you buy a home of lower value, you take a percentage of it, and you can still save a lot of money in your property taxes. And if you're curious about moving, and you've been in your home for some time, go on our website at bcpa.net or web.bcpa.net, click on portability, and you can, if you know the purchase price of your new property, you can actually see what your taxes will be with portability and without portability. It can really help you decide to make a change.
Some people think it's not even around anymore.
If you think about this, Louie, let's say you move the full $500,000 of value. You're saving maybe $11,000 or $12,000 a year in your taxes. That's not just the first year, that's every year thereafter. So over 10 years, you're saving more than $100,000. I mean, that is a big deal for a lot of people.
Absolutely, definitely. One of the other things that you've been doing that is a new program that has had a substantial impact in people being frauded of their homes, with people filing false warranty deeds. The Broward County Property Appraiser's fraud prevention program that you instituted while you were there, and how successful it's been so far.
This is a very big deal for the people of South Florida. Unfortunately, South Florida is the title fraud capital of the world. It's the capital of the world because you have criminals, and that's what they are. And what they do is they walk into the recording division of every county every single day in the state of Florida. They file fake deeds on people's properties, and they take those deeds and they extort people for money, or they mortgage, rent, or sell the property. They do it all the time. And the reason it's so easy for them is the recording division for every county has a ministerial duty. They have to accept whatever documents filed with them. So you have these criminals, they walk in, they file a fake deed, and they do something nefarious with it. So the first thing we wanted to do is give the people of Broward County the opportunity to fight the fraud before the fraud occurs. So we came up with a fantastic program 3 years ago. It's called Owner Alert, and it's free to the public. And here's how you can sign up. If you go to our website at bcpa.net, you type in your name, you type in your email address, and if we have your email address on file, that's because we had it with your homestead application. If we don't, you have to upload your Florida driver's license or Florida ID. If you don't have that, you have to upload a utility bill or something proving ownership, and then you put in your parcel ID. And as soon as you're verified, you're automatically verified and you're in the program. And here's what will occur. If anybody changes the title on your property, you'll be notified instantaneously by email, by text message, by hard copy in the mail, so you can make sure somebody can't steal your property, cloud your title, and make you spend thousands and thousands of dollars in attorney fees to try to fix it.
It's important for people to protect their information. This is similar along the lines of when people get your information and they falsely apply for credit cards. So I would strongly encourage everybody to sign up for this program and protect yourself and protect your property so you don't end up in a nightmare. So that's just excellent information for people. One of the popular things on the site now is the tax calculator.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, when they're buying homes, mostly, they're always trying to have some idea what the taxes are going to be.
Yes.
So basically, we kind of use 2% of the appraised value, even though I believe it's more like about 1.75%. And I always stress it's better to estimate a little higher than lower. And we do refer a lot of people to the tax calculator, but maybe you could explain to people how it works on there to just give them a little idea of that they could actually go on there themselves, because it's very user friendly.
When people pay in property taxes, it's very important for them to know. And when it comes to the amount of taxes you're going to pay, it depends on a lot of things. Are you a first-time home buyer? Did you have a homestead somewhere else? Do you have portability? You have all these different issues that you're dealing with. So the first is the portability estimator. Use that if you're moving from another home in Florida that's your homestead to another home. That'll give you an idea of what your taxes will be the year after you buy the property. But our tax estimator is also very, very good. And where it really comes in handy, especially for first-time home buyers or people moving from another state to Florida that don't have the benefit of portability. Because here's what happens. The first year you own your home, you pay the taxes of the previous owner. And the reason being is because January 1st is what's called our date of assessment. That's the date we determine the value of all property in the county. So when your November tax bill comes out, is what was your property on January 1st of that year. So if you buy your home after January 1st, somebody else was there on January 1st. Your November tax bill is going to be the bill they would have gotten. So generally, if you buy a home from somebody, usually the taxes that you pay that first year are going to be substantially lower than the taxes you're going to see the next year when you actually own the property on January 1st. So a lot of times when people are qualifying you for a mortgage, what they're going to do is they're going to let you know what the mortgage is going to be, they'll let you know what the insurance is going to be, and they may just take into account the current property taxes of the home. And so what happens is that first year is fantastic. Then the next year after you own the home, you get that letter from your mortgage company saying that your escrow is significantly short and you have to come up with that chunk or have your monthly payment much higher. So here's what our estimator does. If you know the purchase price of the property, and basically it has to be an arm's length transaction, what other properties are selling for in your community have to substantiate the value you're paying for. If you know that, you can type it into our tax estimator on our website. You just click on tax estimator, and it'll tell you what your property taxes will be based on this year's millage rates the year after you own the property, so you can really make sure you can afford the property and you can prepare in case there's going to be a big increase in your property taxes for the year later when your monthly payment will definitely likely go up. I hope that answers your question.
No, it's great because we educate all of our buyers on that as well, because sometimes, as you mentioned, mortgage companies will use the current tax rate and include that in the mortgage payment with the escrow analysis, and we explain to them that that's going to change based upon the sale price. You know, someone that's been in the house for 20 years and they have the Save Our Homes and the price of what they bought the house for 20 years ago versus what you're going to pay today is significantly different. So important again to err on the side of caution, use a little bit of higher number so that you're not caught off guard, and then once it changes the following year, you know, you're not blindsided by it. So
and Louie, that's why I appreciate you so much, because I have to tell you the worst call I'll get every single year is usually from a first-time home buyer who didn't know what was going to happen to their property taxes. You know, a lot of people when they're buying a home, they're thinking about, wow, this is going to be a new home, it's going to be a great place to raise my family, and they think they know what their payment's going to be, and they really bank on the fact that that's going to be correct. Then the next year comes, And all of a sudden their taxes go way up because their value just went way up because they've owned the property now, and that's January 1st. And they'll call me, and they're having a very difficult time affording the property taxes at that time. But what I love about the fact is that you take the initiative and you let people know that, listen, this year your taxes are here, but next year there's a good chance they're going to be substantially different. This is what you need to do to see what they're going to be. That is so, so important, because really what you're doing is you're letting people really make the best decision possible if they can afford something. And I think that's a really awesome thing. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
You don't want people to get stuck that way.
Yes.
It's extremely stressful.
Yes.
They're only in the house, for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, and then all of a sudden, they're just adjusting to that mortgage payment, and then they get hit with that, and
Yes.
it's and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
They're stuck, and a lot of people, especially first-time home buyers, will pretty much use all their money to get in.
Yes.
So they don't have that flexibility.
Yes.
So we make sure that we actually look at what the future tax is going to be on the property, and then we communicate that with the mortgage company to make sure that that's in the package that way. And if they're paying extra now, they'll have a plus in their escrow account as opposed to having a deficit,
Yes.
which is the better way to go in. But
Yes.
thanks for clarifying
No,
that.
and thank you for doing that.
And one of the final questions I get a lot, both in residential and commercial, is always how to challenge the taxes.
Of course.
And the process, because I get a lot of calls from people, hey, do you have an attorney that can help me challenge? And I'm like, well, you really don't need an attorney. You could just go to the property appraiser's office and talk to them, and they'll review it for you.
Yes.
And if there's an opportunity for your taxes to be lowered for whatever reason, they're happy to give it to you.
Absolutely.
So maybe you can just talk a little bit about the process for
That's awesome.
the tax challenges.
Oh, thank you so much for bringing that up, Louie. I appreciate that. At the end of the day in our office, all we really want to do is just make sure that people only pay their fair share of property tax, just what they owe. We don't want to make people pay too much. And if there's a way we can bring down the value of your property, which could bring down your property taxes, we're always going to do it. And so the first thing I always tell everybody is just call me, email me, come on down to the office, sit down with me or our staff, and we'll go through it with you together. So
That's great information, and I know that to be true because I have been engaged in that process before with your office, and everybody was extremely helpful, kept myself and the clients informed along the way, and actually the clients actually did get a reduction based upon the analysis, and the member of the Broward County Property Appraiser's office that actually came out physically, looked at the property. We talked about the market itself, and I worked with him on the values of the properties, and the assessment actually was reduced, so it actually saved them money, and they were extremely happy. And because it's not always that the government doors are not always open to those kind of things, and people find it very refreshing to know that your door is always open, and that everything is very transparent, and that as a public servant, you actually strive to work with people to do the best that you possibly can for them. You get nothing out of it personally other than the satisfaction of doing a great job, because that's why you're in the job, because that's what your passion is. But for them, as you know, when we're talking about these different things, and the savings of the money for people is a significant difference today. So we've had a great segment here today with our Broward County Property Appraiser, Marty Kiar. We're so delighted that he came and took the time to go through all your questions, and gave us some very detailed answers. So Marty, we're grateful for that. We wish you all the success on another term in Broward County. It's a pleasure to always be with you, and we're super happy for all your success. And tune in to our next segment of Tobin Real Estate Talk. And remember, tested, trusted, Tobin.